Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Got a good one for you today, folks. We're going to learn a little Excel automation that's taking Microsoft Access and controlling Excel from it. Instead of just a simple export, we're going to actually use VBA to create a workbook and send the data to the cells and apply some formatting and do some cool stuff that you can't do with just a simple export. So this is going to be fun. Today's question comes from Lydia in Santa Clara, California, one of my Platinum members. Lydia says, I'd like to be able to export some data from my Access database to send to customers. Since they don't have Access, I'm using an Excel export. Reasonable. I'm using the simple export that you showed in your previous videos, but it's not very pretty. Is there any way to add some formatting to this? Maybe some colors, change the cell alignment, that kind of stuff. Yeah, one of the troubles if you're doing a simple export like I show in this video, you really don't get a lot of options when you get over into Excel as far as formatting, unless you apply that formatting yourself, right? If you want to go in there after the export and change cell alignment, change colors, all that stuff, great. But if you want to automate that, then you have to use something called Excel Automation. And that's what we're going to show you how to do today. Now, this is a developer level video. What does that mean? Well, that means we're going to be using extensive amounts of VBA in this class, lots of it, not just a couple lines. This is quite involved. So if you've never used VBA before, go watch this video first. This will get you started. You're also going to need to understand how to use record sets. We need to create a record set to loop through the records in a table or query and one by one send them to Excel. So this is going to be very important. Go watch this first. And also go watch my video on late binding. I like to use late binding in my VBA code when we're dealing with automating another application. That way you don't got to worry about adding references. It just becomes a pain. So go watch this video on early versus late binding if you don't know what that means. These are all free videos. They're on my YouTube channel. They're on my website. Go watch those and then come on back. All right, first thing I'm going to do is create myself a new folder to put my stuff in. Let's just call this Excel Automation, like that. We're going to have the database in this folder, and we're going to create whatever spreadsheets we're going to make, whatever workbook files. I know I call them spreadsheets because back in the day it was in a spreadsheet file, but now it's a workbook file. I get it. All right, so I'm going to take a copy of my TechHelp free template, this guy here. I'm just going to rename this to TechHelp for now because we're going to be doing some work with files and stuff, and I don't like those long file names with spaces and stuff in them. So I'm going to put this inside of there and then open you up. There you are. And now let's open up the database. This TechHelp free template, by the way, you can get a copy of this off my website if you want it. But there's nothing special about this database. You can do this with any database that you want. All right, so let's take the customer table, this whole thing here, and we're going to send this over to Excel. So I'm going to just hijack the Hello World button here. If you watched the other videos I told you, then you should know what this is. We're going to export to Excel using automation. All right, right-click. Build event. It's going to bring up my code builder. All right, here we are. We're not going to status hello world. We're going to status exporting data like that. I'm just going to say data for now because we could change the record source later. You could export orders. You could export products, whatever you want. This works with any table or query in your database. Let's dim some variables. We're going to need a bunch of variables. We're going to need 3 objects to work with Excel. All right, there's the application object, which basically is pointing to Excel itself as an application. So Excel app as an object. Then we need a reference to the workbook file. So Excel workbook as an object. And then we need a reference to the specific sheet in that workbook that we're working with. So Excel sheet as object. You get all that? Okay, 3 objects. Now we need some stuff in Access so that we can work with the data. So we need an RS as a record set, which if you watched my record set video, you know what that means. We need a couple of simple counter variables. We need L as a long. That's just for a loop. And another one, R as a long. That's going to be to indicate what row we're on in the spreadsheet. Because as we move down through the rows, right, we're going to read in the records and then move down through the rows. And it's handy to know what row we're on. Okay. Also file name as a string to store the file name that we're working within. And one more, record source as a string, so we know what object we're actually exporting. Okay? And then let's set that record source before we status. So we're going to say the record source equals, let's do the customer table first. So customer T. And now instead of just saying exporting data, we can say exporting record source. Right? We know what we're exporting. It'll say exporting customer T. And if you want later on, you could even send this in as a variable, right? And then export whatever you send to the function. We're going to keep it simple for right now. Okay, we dimmed a bunch of variables. Let's set those variables up now. Any object needs a set in front of it. Set Excel app equals create object, and that's going to be excel.application. This is one of those things you just got to do. There's like a framework of stuff that you have to do to set this up right. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember it all the time myself. I have to look back at my older code or even Google it, right? But that is an Excel application object. So now Excel app is set equal to all of Excel, okay? Now, if you want to see this happening as you're working with it, we're going to say Excel app.visible equals true, okay? Make the Excel application visible. If you don't want to see it and you want it to just do this in the background, set that to false. That's completely up to you. Your Legos. Okay, so we got a blank Excel application object just running in the background. Now we're going to create a new workbook. So set Excel workbook. Did I spell it right? Yeah, Excel. One of the problems also with this is that you don't always get IntelliSense when you're working with late binding because Access has no idea what these objects are. If you use early binding and you set a reference up here under Tools References, you can set a reference to the Excel library, then Access will know what all these Excel objects are. But unfortunately, we're not doing that. And we're not doing that because it makes the code more portable to keep it in late binding, which I explained in my late binding video. I like working this way. Most of the time, I'll start with early binding, get the code working, and then switch to late binding. All right, so what's our workbook going to be equal to? It's going to be equal to Excel app.workbooks.add. We're adding a workbook to the workbooks collection in that Excel application. Now we're going to do the same thing and add a sheet. So set Excel sheet equals Excel workbook.sheets1, like that. Because every workbook starts with one default sheet, right? When you open up Excel. Right? If I open up Excel, you get one sheet to begin with. You can add more sheets later if you want to. Okay, now we've got the Excel book already set up, the sheets already set up. We're going to do stuff here in a little bit. But right now, I want to close all this stuff down. I like to set it up and then close it down first. Then we'll do the meat filling in the middle of our ravioli, or the cheese filling, depending. I like both. I like cheese raviolis more, I think. Okay, but we've created all these objects. Let's now destroy all these objects. Okay, so we're going to set Excel sheet equals nothing. Set Excel workbook equals nothing. And optionally right here, if you want Excel to quit, you'd say Excel app.quit. That'll shut it down. But I'm going to leave it open so I can look at it when it's done. So I'm going to just I'm going to leave that and rem it out so that you gold members have that in your code. And I'll put this in the code vault. Okay. And then set Excel app equals nothing. And then we'll status done at the end. And then maybe throw a beep in there. Okay? So here we are. We created our objects. We destroyed them. Now we're ready to do the stuff in the middle, which is going to be looping through the records in whatever our record source table or query is, and then putting them in the spreadsheet. Let's save this. Give it a debug compile. Make sure everything compiles. Okay. And let's just run it real quick. Let's come over here. Close this, and then run it, and perfect. It created a workbook, right? Created the instance of Excel, created the workbook, and then it destroyed those objects in Access. So Access is done. Where's Access? Access is done as far as it's concerned. It did all that, and it handed you off to an Excel workbook. And now we're ready to fill this thing in with some data. And we're going to do that in tomorrow's video, part 2. So tune in tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel, or if you remember, you can watch it right now because I'm going to record it in about 5 minutes. And we will continue with filling in all the information from our database into our spreadsheet. But for now, that is going to be your Tech Help video for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow for part 2. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. And you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free Tech Help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing, free, 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my Tech Help page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the Tech Help page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut Tech Help videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my Tech Help videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any Tech Help questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for TechHelp questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.